Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. Today we're going to be reviewing and trying out the new Tarte Maneater Nightfall palette. So before we get into it, I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel before you leave. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy, and let's get into it. Alright, so this is the new Maneater Nightfall palette from Tarte. This did just launch today at Ulta. This is also available on Tarte's website if you are interested. So this is what it looks like, and this is their Amazonian clay formula. So last year they had their Maneater, I think the Maneater After Dark, and it is the same format, same formula. This does have a 12-month shelf life, and it is made in Taiwan. So a bit of a shorter shelf life, which is kind of surprising. So this does retail for $52 US. I believe that's 70 Canadian. This is what the packaging looks like. So on last year's palette it was black and it had this glossy animal print. This year it is a deep purple with the same animal print. On the back, please ignore my fingerprints, but we have this reflective rose gold backing. And it is actually quite slim if you're looking at it. When I was seeing reviews of last year's palette, I definitely thought this looked a little bit bulky, but it's really not. So opening up the palette, this is very beautiful. Definitely a little bit more colorful than my typical choices, but we definitely have a lot of really amazing fall shades in here. This is a beautiful fall palette. This looks absolutely stunning. We have some nice neutrals at the top. Then we have a bright pop of color here, and then some purples and blues. And I'm not actually getting the scent of their Amazonian clay formula. I'm thinking of the Tartelette Juicy palette. The Amazonian clay formula has a very distinctive scent. I am not actually getting that from this, which makes me a little sad. I do love that scent. Let's look at some swatches, and then I will do a look on each eye, and then I'll share my final thoughts. Alright, so here is the color story. Very pretty. I'm thinking very beautiful. The shimmers are gorgeous. So this side is the top two rows of the palette. This side is the bottom two rows. So we have Fascinate, then we have Sly, Catnap, Mischief, Smolder, Alpha, Desirable, Pamper, Frisky, Ferocious, Minx, and Tease. The bottom two rows we have Pounce, 9 Lives, Nightfall, Intrigue, Wild, Captivate, Pause Off, Sizzle, Vixen, Passionate, Mysterious, and After Dark. So beautiful color story. I will say the shades that have this sort of animal print embossment are the really beautiful high shine metallics in here. They are so pretty. They feel super buttery to the touch, and they have a lot of shine, a lot of color payoff, and they're very pigmented. They look really nice. The regular shimmers in here do seem a little bit inconsistent. So Intrigue had some good payoff and pigment. Then we have Desirable, which seems to be a little bit more of a topper shade. That one is right here. So you can see it's gold, but it's more of just like a gold shimmer. It really just doesn't have a base. So let's get into two different looks. So one of them is going to be very neutral, but I feel like I have to play with this shade right here. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the shade Pounce. And this one, I'm going to, I guess, just set my eye primer. It's okay. This can be a really nice base shade for me then. That's fine. And like I mentioned, unfortunately, I don't have last year's palette. I actually, when we went to Ulta today, I saw the display. They were just setting up the new display for this palette, and they had this one on display, and then the boxes behind it, and I grabbed one and I started walking away. And then I realized that they had put the original After Dark palette from last year behind the display for the new one, and I pointed it out to the girl and she had no idea. So she fixed it quickly. They were so nice. Made sure I got the right one. I was really pleased with that I think I'm gonna create a halo eye. Let's go in to Captivate. I was debating on whether I want to put that really pretty pop of color as a crease shade or if I want to use it for an all over the lid shade. I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do, but I think in the spirit of creating a little bit more fall-like makeup, we're gonna do it this way and just lightly buffing up into the crease. I am just going all the way across, but very lightly, and then I'm going to also pack that shade on the inner corner. I am going to add a little bit more, but with a smaller brush. This deeper green shade is very, very pigmented, so be careful. Okay, I'm going to grab a smaller brush now, just the BK Beauty A504. I am using my usual 202 brush for the larger blending. It has been an incredibly busy last month with new makeup releases, and I have been loving it. I feel like we are already in the fall rush of new makeup launches. I'm very, very excited about it. Now I'm going to take the shade 9 Lives. I just had to think of this shade, and I'm going to pop this one right in the middle. Ooh, that's pretty. And this shade 9 Lives does have a sheen to it, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's a full shimmer though. Let me see what it looks like on a finger. Okay, definitely getting better color payoff with a finger. Okay, I'm gonna go back into that smaller brush I was using and bring back some of that deeper green to the edges. From there, I think I want to pick up a little bit of Nightfall, and I'm going to try this one on a brush. Ooh, it looks really deep. I am going to tap it off, and then I just want to put it between those two to kind of mesh them together. All right, and then because that shade Desirable seemed to be just like a topper shade, I'm going to take the littlest bit on a finger, and I want to tap this right on top of that light Desirable shade, but just near the lash line, just to add in a little bit of a extra spotlight effect, but not to take away too much from that green. I'm just going to grab a tiny bit of Fascinate, this one right here, for the inner corner. You know Fascinate is going to be one of those shades that I want all over the lid all the time. All right, just to brighten that outer corner. All right, let me pop on some mascara and I'll come back and show you the final look, and then we'll get into look number 2. All right, so here is look number 1, and I'm actually kind of happy with how it turned out. I was not expecting to like it. Again, I'm not a huge color wearer, but I do quite like it. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out, and overall I'm really happy with it, and I'm kind of starting to really like the little pop of gold I did on the very center. I could have probably done a bit more, but I just like how it turned out, and I'm pretty happy with this look overall. Let's go over to the other side. I think we are going to do something a lot more neutral, something warmer, something warm and toasty. I'm thinking maybe, since I did a halo on this side, I kind of want to do it on this side too. Something about it just makes me feel like it's going to balance better. Let me start with Sly. You definitely don't need to start out with as many shades as I am to build this halo. Like for this one, I used a couple of extras just to get a feel for the shades and the palette, things like that. But you could easily create this look without doing some of the extras that I did. Again, just trying to get a feel for this palette so I can really give you my thoughts. Okay, going into Catnap. I'm kind of just doing the same thing, deepening the outer and inner corner with this one, but also using that as a bit of a crease shade as well. If you would like to see a video with multiple looks on this palette, please let me know. I will definitely do that if you're interested. It would definitely push me outside of my comfort zone to do that. I feel like I really had to think in order to work with that teal shade, so definitely making me work for it a little bit. Okay, next I'm gonna go into Smolder. And like I said, I want something toasty, very fall-like. I actually already filmed a best palettes for fall video, which you should see shortly, but unfortunately it filmed before this came out. So this won't be in there, but I do have some great options if you're just wanting to shop your own collection, your own stash. I have some newer suggestions as well as some older ones. So that will be coming soon. I just won't have this new palette in there. I do also have the Too Faced Maple Syrup Pancakes palette, and I'll be posting that review next. I posted a poll on my community tab and asking which one you guys would like to see first. And at the time of filming, 77% of you voted for the Tarte palette. So I figured I best do that one first. Grabbing my Fox 2 brush from Sigma and Brianna Fox, I'm going into Tease, and I'm going to use this for the outer corner just to further deepen that, but I want that orange to peek through still. So I am just being very careful where I apply it, and then using my smaller, more precise brush in the inner corner. Okay, I'm gonna pick up Minx with the finger, and this one is going right in the very center. That is a high shine shimmer. I do love that. This alpha shade up here has a little bit of a brown to it, so I'm just gonna pick that one up on a brush. I'm just gonna tap that off and then use it to kind of mesh that one into the browns. All right, I'm just gonna grab the same inner corner shade for this eye. All right, let me pop off camera. I will pop on some mascara and I'll be right back to show you the final look and my final thoughts. All right, so here are the two final looks. I do think the gold over here is a little bit more yellow gold than I typically prefer, but I do think both looks turned out pretty well. I'm actually pretty happy with both of them. Weirdly enough, I think I like the teal side a bit more. Who am I? But I do really like this palette so far. So looking at these shades here with this sort of animal print embossment are, like I mentioned, very buttery, very creamy, pack a ton of pigment, look really, really beautiful. They apply with a brush, they apply with a finger. Beautiful. Really, really impressed. Some of these softer, I guess, shimmers, they're really not metallics. These would be metallics. These softer shimmers in here, like this one, really, really pretty. Applied pretty well with a brush, but I did find I got better color payoff with fingers. I absolutely love the pigmentation I got in here as well. So the mattes blended beautifully, super easy to work with, pigmented but also buildable. I really like that. I thought these were really beautiful formula. I do think their Amazonian clay eyeshadow formula is their very best. So I do think these mattes are wonderful. Again, didn't swatch well, but perform perfectly well on the eyes. The only one I'm still questioning is this Desirable shade right here, which is really more of a topper. I mean, you can look at it on my finger. It's pretty, it really is, but it really does not have a base to it. So it's really more of a topper shade. All of the others have a beautiful, beautiful base to them. Beautiful pigmentation, super easy to work with. Absolutely gorgeous. I do want to say the one palette that this did kind of call to mind, and they're by no means identical, was the Urban Decay Naked Wild West. The color stories are similar enough, I would say, of course, minus the pinky purples that are in the Tarte palette, but in some ways very similar. You get this pop of teal green, a matte forest green, and then you have some warm shades, some golds, a pop of silver in there. Quite similar, honestly. I will say I do prefer the Tarte formula, and I do think that it's a little more affordable than the Urban Decay. So if you had to pick between the two, I would definitely pick this one, especially because you do get more range. You do get the pinks and the purples. But if you have the Urban Decay, I'm not sure how worth it is for you to pick this one up, given that you have a pretty similar color story minus the pinks and purples, but you probably have those in other palettes. The Tarte is a little bit warmer as well, but overall, I think this palette's beautiful. I'm so glad I picked it up. I officially understand what I was missing out on last year with the original Maneater After Dark palette. I regret it. I am glad that I was able to grab this one this year. Based on this one, I will definitely be picking up their holiday launch next year as well, because I think this is fabulous. The quality is great. I love the range, and I'm excited to see what else I can do with this palette. I still also really love the packaging. It is not nearly as kind of clunky as I thought. Once again, if you'd like to see more looks with this palette, let me know because I can definitely do that. I am really enjoying this palette. I can't wait to play with it more. Again, just see what it can do, try out more looks, and I'm so glad I was able to pick this one up on launch day. But that is it for me today. Let me know down below if you're thinking of getting this one or if you have any questions, maybe I forgot to answer anything, let me know. If you're new here, I hope you'll consider subscribing before you go. I do upload at least 3 new videos every single week. Thank you again so very much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!